Welcome to Osgir, the Reconstructor. As far as our opening hand goes, yeah, we'll keep on this one. I like it. No reason to ship this back. We got Boros Guildgate, Fabled Passage, a little bit of Mana Crypt. We got some good stuff. Let's go ahead and lead off with, I guess it doesn't really matter. We just lead off with Fury Calm. Or actually, Boros Guildgate will enter the battlefield tap no matter what. And so let's just do that. Well, Boros Guildgate enter the battlefield. Let's go for Mana Crypt. And then let's get Terrarian onto the battlefield. I think that sounds like a pretty good plan. Tap for one more. And then anything else. Let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, welcome to some Osgir, the Reconstructor. I did not realize that this Osgir had gotten released on Magic Online. Because there is a delay from when they do commander sets. And the timing of paper versus digital. Especially in regards to Magic Online. So I saw that this was available. I was like, hey, I built this deck almost a year ago. Let's sleeve it up and have some fun. So that's where we're at. All right, so we run into Esper Sentinel, which is actually pretty nice. So we can go Fabled Passage, enters the battlefield tap. Yeah, we'll just go and drop in Esper Sentinel. I think that's pretty good. So we'll drop in Esper Sentinel, and we end up going for Fury. And then we have nothing to reveal for that, and then anything else. We could add a little bit extra. Yeah, we're just simply going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we're playing Osgir, the Reconstructor. Vigilance. Then for a 1-mana activation, sacrifice an artifact. Target creature you can control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Then for X, a tap activated ability. Exile artifact card with mana value X or less from your graveyard. Create 2 tokens that are a copy of the exiled card. Activate only as a sorcery. Playing its God Eternal Kefnet. Flying, you may reveal the first card you draw each turn as you draw it whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery card. And actually, we'll pick that up in just a second. We did cash in a card draw with Esper Sentinel, so I'll take it. And so let's go and choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. 1 the flip. There we go. Let's see what we're drawn to. Drawn to Inventor's Fair. So let's make the land drop. Let's get in for 1 though first. I think that sounds good. Let's swing in for 1. Knock our opponent down to 39. And then we want to go for Anointed Procession. I think that sounds good, especially with our opponent being shields down. I kind of like that. It's going to be 1/2. Let's go Fabled Passage. And we'll go and grab a land off of Fabled Passage so we can cover our commanders. Going to just grab a, probably just grab a Plains. I think that's okay. Comes in a play tap, and then anything else, pass it over to our opponent. Playing against God Eternal Kefnet. You may reveal the first instant or sorcery card this way. Copy that card. You may cast that copy. This copy costs 2 less to cast. Then whenever God Eternal Kefnet dies or is put into exile. And what is Rabbit on Esper Sentinel? Yeah, we'll take that. I'll get some Frog Lizard tokens. We'll take that. And then whenever God Eternal Kefnet dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library 3rd from the top. We got the Frog Lizard token army assembled. And also, just giving you a heads up, this is the 2nd game I'm playing with Osgir. If we record a game with Osgir, and during the game it looks like I don't really know what I'm doing, or it doesn't really know what lines of play I'm going for, that might be a very correct observation. So I'm just giving you a heads up, because I built it a year ago and I haven't played it. I never got to play it, and so I'm trying to figure out what I thought would be fun a year ago. So that's what makes Magic fun sometimes. So let's go and get the crew swinging in. I got the Frog Lizard token swinging in for 6. That'll drop him down to 36, or excuse me, 33. And I guess we just end up going for Temple of Triumph. That we can get the Scry and the Scurry and the Fever for 1. And that's going to be Urza's Bauble. Do we want that on top? We can bring it out of the graveyard. I think we're okay with that. Yeah, we'll put that on top. Let's get Osgir onto the battlefield, because it's going to be 1, 2, then 3, and then 4. Did we tap down? Let's see, that's going to be 1, 2. We need to tap down for 1 red. And then there's nothing else that we need to go for, so we will simply pass the turn for our opponent. All right, so we got some stuff that we can do with Osgir. And actually, we did cover both commanders. So give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will apply my affiliate link that will allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you do use that link, much obliged. I certainly appreciate it. Let's give a quick shout out to Magic Online. If you play Commander Online, they've got you covered with most of the cards in Magic's card pool history. It's very nice having that service. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home in the junkyard with Osgir, it's officially free time, so let's have some fun. We're going to choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. And we lost the flip. I think we're actually 0 for 2 on that. So we run into Urza's Bauble. So let's go Urza's Bauble. Look at a card at, yeah, we're going to look at a random, so what was revealed? So, all right, so we do know that they have Snapcaster. Let's go for the Sunbaked Canyon. I think that'll work out. Yeah, so we go, I don't really think it, we can get Inventor's Fair and we can specifically grab whatever we want off of that if we want to. So we'll at least get down Inventor's Fair. Yeah, that's better than nothing. And I think we just end up going for double Esper Sentinels. I think that sounds pretty good because that's going to be, yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. It's going to be Plains. And then with Inventor's Fair, oh my gosh, look at all those Esper Sentinels. I love it. That's 4 of them. That's beautiful. And then with Inventor's Fair, search your library for an artifact card, put it in your hand, activate it when you control 3 or more artifacts. We definitely have that online, so let's see if we get any sort of action from our opponent. We don't want to swing in with the frog lizards yet, so we're simply just going to go ahead and pass the turn over there. Look at that. That's beautiful. Yeah. All right. See, and this is why I really dig Oskiers, because, yeah, like we just to me, we've already won. We've got 4 Esper Sentinels out there, and I'm super happy to have a playset of Esper Sentinels out there, and especially with Anointed Procession. So this is what I'm talking about, to where it's kind of like, don't know exactly what we're doing, but let's see if they pay for the Esper Sentinel. It is very well possible that we can end up with a bunch of these Esper Sentinels triggers. Let me see. Oh, excuse me. Okay. So they do end up paying for that. Okay, so they've got it on that. But yeah, just getting multiple copies out there like that, that's some good magic right there. Okay. So let's see what else. If they want to swing in for a 4/5, they can, but that leaves us open for the crew. So we do have a dockside that we can end up going for. So we'll kind of see what's happening. All right, see what we draw into for the turn. It's going to be Mana Crypt trigger. That's going to be 3 damage. Choose tails on this one. 1 the flip, and that's going to be an extra life gain. All right, so we run into Mountain. Let's go for Thrilling Discovery. I kind of like that. And so we're going to get rid of 1,000-Year Elixir, and we're going to get rid of Mountain. And then, ooh, we run into some really good stuff. Okay. So we end up going for, let's get 1,000-Year Elixir out of the graveyard. Yeah, we want that. We want to get that moving. So we'll get 1,000-Year Elixir out of the graveyard. We got 4 copies of it now. And then let's get Wellspring. That's going to allow us to grab basics, which I don't really think we need to do that super bad right now. So we'll drop in Sunbaked Canyon. And then let's go ahead and drop in Mindstone. That's going to be 1/2. Get down Mindstone. And then anything else, we can sacrifice that next turn and end up with a bunch of copies of it if we need to. So, and then we can still get down Wellspring. Yeah, I like that. All right, so we'll get down Wellspring as the last little activation. All right, so it's going to be 1/2. We'll get down Wellspring. And then we can still, yes, search the lobby for a basic. We'll definitely use that ability. And let's go and grab ourselves a Mountain. And then anything else, I think we just pass the turn. Yeah, because even if we swing in with the frog tokens, it's still going to get it. So anything else, pass the turn over to our opponent. So we've got Urza's Bauble out of the graveyard, so we can just use that for free next turn, which is going to be the tap ability. So we're going to get 4 copies of Urza's Bauble. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 that we crack. That's going to untap Oskier with 1,000-Year Elixir. Then we can end up trying to go for something like Wormcoil Engine and end up with a bunch of worms on the battlefield. I think I kind of like that. The only thing we do need to watch out for is Cyclonic Rift styles effects from our opponent. That's the one thing that we're trying to watch out for. All right, so we run into Phyrexian Soulgorger, with Prismatic Vista, but I think with Time Spiral, that everybody shuffles their hand in the graveyard in the library, draw 7 cards, you untap up to 6 target lands. Okay. So that's going to get shuffled in. We still basically end up with Wormcoil Engine, and we do miss out on Urza's Bauble, which is a little bit of a bummer, and they get to untap. So we'll see what they have. But as far as next turn goes, we can at least use Cathartic Reunion to dump Wormcoil Engine and Chromatic Star into the bin. And so we'll see what they assemble for the turn. We can kind of get some shenanigans going with Inventor's Fair and grabbing KCI, and that's going to allow us to start sacrificing a lot of these artifacts. And honestly, getting into a KCI line of play where we sack a bunch of artifacts and keep going. All right, so opponent's going to go for a bunch of extra turns on this. So what we'll probably end up doing is, if something gnarly happens, you know, I'll hop into commentary or whatever. But if they're just going to be cycling a bunch of extra turns with Kefnet, then what we'll do is we'll simply just, I'll jump into commentary if something interesting does happen. So Alright, so we're going to pass it over to our opponent, let them kind of get the extra turns going. Okay, so we do get another turn. So let's go ahead and let's see. So that's going to be Inventor's Fair. Let's get the Inventor's Fair trigger on the stack. So basically they took extra turns, and then Teferi was the payoff. So we did draw into a bunch of cards. So we'll see what we can do about that. I'm just going to choose Tails on this one. One to flip. And then see what we draw into for the turn. So I guess... So we've got Swords to Plowshare. Didn't really run into anything super crazy. So do you want to, yeah, I guess we just try to Inventor's Fair for KCI. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then 4. All right, so we're going to search our library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. So we're going to go for Inventor's Fair. We'll see if this gets any sort of action out of them. So let's grab KCI. Where are you, KCI? There we are. So we grab Ironworks. That goes into our hand. We go into our draw, then we go into our main phase. So let's get over there. So let's drop in Command Tower. Let's go for Ironworks. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll tap down Mind Stone. See if this is good. So we're going to go for KCI. We're going to get Ironworks down. Draw a card, then discard a card. So it's going to be Teferi, Master of Time. And the thing with Ironworks is that we can... I guess if we wanted to, we can make copies of it. Really, you just need one. So, alright, so we get down Ironworks. So let's go sacrifice an artifact. Let's sacrifice Wellspring. We're going to search our library for a basic. And then we end up going for... I'm not sure how we kind of loop out of this, to be perfectly honest. So we can at least Oskier for... Let's see. So let's go... Let's add red and then red. Because that's going to be the Cathartic Union. So we draw into Terrarian. And let's go for... Alright, so we're going to see what we can do on this. So we're going to end up going KCI, sacrifice one of the Esper's actual sacrifice Mind Stone to add 2 colorless. Let's go Cathartic Reunion. And we're going to discard... We'll discard Mox. And then we'll discard... I guess we'll get rid of Chromatic Star. I don't really think there's a certain way that we do this. We'll get rid of Chromatic Star. So we discard both of those. And we draw a couple more. Let's see what we drew into. Dockside and Commander Sphere. So let's go ahead and exile an artifact or exile Mox. Because that's going to give us extra mana. So that'll give us 4 copies of that. Alright, so let's tap. Let's add down red. Red. We'll add white. Add white. And then let's go for KCI to sacrifice one of the Moxes. And we're going to use 1000-Year Elixir to untap Oskier. And I guess let's go ahead and get Commander Sphere down. This is going to be 1, 2. So let's add white, and then we're going to sacrifice it to draw a card. Use Oskier's ability to exile Commander Sphere. Alright, and so what I'm going to do on this is I'm just going to try to cycle through stuff, which we can draw and discard with Quicksmith Genius. Yeah, so we're going to go KCI, sacrifice Mox, sacrifice Mox. Let's get down to Quicksmith Genius. And then what we're going to do on this one is we're going to gamble for a card. Yeah, I like that. So we're going to get down Quicksmith Genius. And let's go for gamble. So let's grab Pandemonium. And okay, Pandemonium does not hit the bin. Let's go ahead and add red, 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 and then we'll add white. So let's go ahead and we'll sacrifice to add the colorless, and let's get Pandemonium down. And so we go for Juggernaut. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to send that 12 damage up top. So we're going to draw a discard. It's going to be Pandemonium up top to our opponent. And then we can, yes, we'll definitely use that ability. Drops them down to 19. Draw and discard a card. So we'll discard. At this point, we'll get rid of Wormcoil Engine. We'll use a 1000-Year Elixir to untap Oskier. And we'll pay for the 1. Untap it. Then we go KCI to sacrifice Commander Sphere. KCI to sacrifice Commander Sphere. Let's use Oskier to exile Wormcoil Engine out of the graveyard. So we're going to pay that 6. Alright, so create 2 tokens that are a copy of it. It's going to be 4 copies of Wormcoil. Let's get the Quicksmith Genius triggers on the stack first. And we'll get these Pandemonium triggers on the stack. And we're going to target opponent. That's going to be 6, 12, 18, and then that should be 24. Okay, so if they have any sort of response where it's Snapcaster, so yes, we'll use that ability. Yes, we'll use that ability. And if I could have done this quicker, I do apologize. This is literally the second game that I'm playing with this, and I built. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on that one. So even if they have any sort of action from like Snapcaster out of the graveyard to delay, do whatever, once we get down Wormcoil Engine, we can sacrifice that. That's going to be even more tokens coming down and going from there. That probably could have been a cleaner win, especially if somebody's played Oscar before and they saw something a little bit quicker. But yeah, that's what we're trying to do with this deck. I can't believe it worked out. We're trying to go for a Pandemonium Wormcoil Engine win, and we got it. We probably could have done it a little bit cleaner with something like Terrarian and Wellspring out of the graveyard, Chromatic Star to get some card advantage. But hey, that was some real Pandemonium right there. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.